So let's write that. Point C is 17Z3M, and point D is 8Z3M. 8Z3M. So I wanted to do this question to show you how you can calculate the length of the line when you have variables involved. So the length of the line, first I'm going to label this point my x1, y1, and this point is going to be my x2, y2, because this is my first point, this is my second point. If you wanted to mix it up and make this my x1, y1, make this your x2, y2, you can do that as well, as long as it's consistent. So underneath the square root sign, let's just write the formula first. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. A big chunk of your unit guide is going to be calculating the length of the line given two specific points. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to substitute the values that I know. I know that my x2 is 8z, and my x1 is 17z, and I'm subtracting both of those values. My y2 is 3m, and my y1 is also 3m. If you take this further, the length is equal to, what is 8z minus 17z? What is that going to give me? 8 minus 17. Sorry? Diana? Guys, you're not earning participation marks at all. I'm going to remember this. -9. -9z. Speak up. And 3m minus 3m, that just gives you 0. So we can ignore that. 0 doesn't exist, so I can focus on my -9z. Remember that you have to square both your number and your variable. So -9 squared is, -9 times -9 is positive 81, and z squared is z squared. Okay, so that is the length of the line. I have to remember to simplify. So you can break 81 up into 9 times 9, and you can break z squared up into z times z. So now I'm looking at my pairs. I have a pair for the 9s, and I have a pair of z's. So a pair of 9s underneath the radical makes one whole number 9, and a pair of z's make a whole z. So my final answer is 9z. If you only stop at this point, then you're not going to get full marks on your test, okay? So there's a lot of questions when you have to take letters, variables into consideration. So put a star next to this when you're doing your unit guide. Okay. Terminology is very important. So this Unit 5 test is going to have definitions, and I know you're not used to having definitions in your grade 9 test, but these are shapes, and these are the specific definitions pertaining to shapes. So I want you to copy this into your seminar notes right now, because these shapes we're going to be dealing with their properties throughout your entire unit guide. In your seminar notes, just maybe compare it to what you've already written. Smartware is nice because it can focus on the different colors and they can see things a little bit better. What I'm trying to make, like for the grade 11s, I made an actual PowerPoint, like breaking up the steps so that they can just watch it without me having to write it. It takes so long to do that, so in the Smartboard application for elementary kids, you can import pictures, you can import objects, and the good thing about that is you can, like with the little ones, you can get them to write up. They like to play with the pens and write solutions on, as opposed to writing solutions on the board. Except everything's so small in elementary. Oh yeah, you're right. I usually like to tell doesn't use Blackboard at all. Just throws things. The academics, there's so much to teach them for each guide that like usually we take up a big chunk of the period. This is not a long seminar, but usually it goes like right to the period. So then when I'm posting it on YouTube, I have to like edit in 10-minute slots, because unless you're someone with like thousands and thousands of hits, they don't let you make longer videos, post longer videos. It's a pain. Hey guys, maybe I'll just post this at the end of the seminar, so leave some space, and let's move on to the next question. I'll bring this back at the end of the seminar. Okay, midpoint is actually a lot easier to deal with. However, so you don't make any mistakes, make sure to label your points again. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Now, length of a line and midpoint, both of these concepts, the reason why we made the Unit 5 test a lot easier is you have to practice these concepts and then apply them over and over and over again in Unit 6. And remember, because there's no test for Unit 6, the guides have to be done completely. Every single question has to be done. The practice test needs to be handed in for Unit 6. So a big chunk of the unit has to be done perfectly, okay? So if I want to find the midpoint, and always tell me what you're finding the midpoint of, in this case the midpoint of AB, the formula is very simple, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So unlike the last question, you're not going to get a value, you're going to get a point. So if my A is -4, 5, and B is -12, -9, my midpoint is going to lie in the middle between A and B. So there's going to be an equal distance between A and the midpoint, equal distance from B and the midpoint. So I know that my x values, -4 plus -12 divided by 2. My y values are 5 plus -9 divided by 2. So what is -4 plus -12? What is that going to give me? -4 plus -12. -16. -16 divided by 2. 5 plus -9 is just -4 divided by 2. So your final midpoint is just -8 and -2. And that's it. Simple. But remember to show your steps. Whenever you're writing your tests, when you're doing assignments, show all of your steps, okay? So those are the two concepts. We can take those concepts and apply them to harder problems.